How you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
Good. Great. Appreciate you being here. It's been quite a while. You know, me and you, Mario, have known each other for
Half my life.
about 20 years. Yeah, I guess about half my life too at this point. A couple of dinosaurs still around here kicking it. And I probably haven't really seen you outside of like passing at a show here or there. I definitely haven't like talked to you for more than like 30 seconds in well over 10 years. But I saw you last week because we played out a Go Gamer.
Yes,
We
sir.
as in Grey Walker, Go Gamer as in a location where people are buying video games, toys, paraphernalia of oddities and pop culture debauchery, and also seeing live bands. Thanks to you.
Oh, thanks, dude. I'm glad that you had fun and you guys killed it.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. And now you're here a week later and we're talking again. And we got a lot to catch up on.
Yes, sir.
So, what the fuck have you been doing with yourself over the past decade?
Moving, living in Philly, living in the fun slums of New Jersey, living in the fun slums of West Virginia, which is, I think, the whole thing. And just overall surviving, creating art, doing music. Yeah, that's about it. And creating one of the most fun and weird oddity video game nerd and collectible stores known to man.
Totally. I would attest to that. There's a lot of really, really cool stuff there. It's definitely a product I can tell of somebody that is genuinely into this shit and not just taking anything to flip it for hopefully a buck. It's cool to go into a place like that and feel like, oh, this is curated to some degree. Like, you know, you go to a lot of places and it's like there's a ton of tapes on the wall. And I could tell in 2 seconds, like, they don't even know what this is. They don't care. They're just trying to put tapes on the wall. But I'm like looking through the tapes. I'm like, everything here is cool. There's no way that every single thing that comes across your plate could be possibly that cool. I just feel like you're maybe picking and choosing what you put out or what you're deciding to buy for the store. I don't know. How's it work?
Sometimes I get really cursed with my 30 copies of Titanic with VHS. But beyond that, I'm really happy to have a really large collection of Mac and Me VHS tapes as well. Because I'm the only one that likes that movie. I'm like, E.T., no, Mac and Me. Where else do you have like a crippled kid who gets pushed down a hill and ends up in a lake? And also the best choreographed dance scene in a McDonald's ever.
Only in Mac and Me.
Yep. So
it's the only one. So, you know, with all of this, like, you know, just being, I've known you always as a fan and a contributor and a digester of alternative subculture, the underground, everything, as long as I've known you. And now, like, you're giving back to that world in a big way, not only by, you know, just like having this place, but it's also like a community hub for, you know, all of freaks of all sizes, shapes, and ages and things like that, right? And like, it would have been so fucking wild to have a place like that when I was 16, 17, 18. I didn't, you know what I mean? But luckily there was like places where we could actually go, you know, like Oakland and Pittsburgh and things, places like Laga and different nights like that. So much of that shit's gone now.
yeah,
Like, I can't even imagine, like, if you were like an underage kid now, like, where the fuck do you go to enjoy music? Like, there's really nothing, even if you're in like Pittsburgh, let alone like fucking Uniontown where your fucking store is. Like, it's crazy. So like taking the time and the energy and putting all the resources that you have into like building that is like insane, because you don't have to do that, but it's obvious that you love it, and that's why it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, when the store fuels my ability to do such things, and I just overall wanted like something that like a overall chill place for people like us to hang out, because I always wanted that as a kid, and the closest thing I got was like a bowling alley, and then I graduated, got my car, and then I could bother people at the Century 3 Mall like every week. So driving an hour and a half to just be like, woo, I'm in the Century 3 Mall, and skateboarding around, that was my only option. So it's pretty cool to be able to facilitate that for like people young people and people of all ages. It's pretty dope.
Yeah, it was like really fun just to see like such a interesting mix of people at the show that we played last weekend, just because it was like it didn't feel like sometimes you play like an all ages show at like a DIY space and it's like, oh, okay, well, there's nothing but 17-year-old kids here, and that's fine. But it was cool because like this is an all ages show in a DIY space. And I feel like it was a pretty even mix of, people our age, people half our age, and like that's cool. You don't like always see that anymore. Just people coming out to enjoy the music, especially on like a DIY level. Not because this isn't like, some big mainstream production where it's like a band that everybody wants to see. This is just like weirdos like Grey Walker and good night Irene. Shout outs to them.
Yes, sir. But yeah, it's the best part about Uniontown is that it's basically like a time capsule of 2000 where everyone who was different, like punks, metalheads, goths, alternative people, all getting along. And it seemed like for some reason, other areas just sort of got away from that. Everything became more specialized. If a hardcore show didn't have all hardcore bands, some people just didn't show up. But before that, like there was all different kinds of bands. Even festivals like Lollapalooza and stuff had Nine Inch Nails and Jane's Addiction and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think that time where there was cross promotion of different genres was like definitely the best time to be.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of different potential reasons for this. If you like zoom out and like try to focus, or not zoom out, but like zoom in and try to focus on it on like a city by city level, I think like what happened with Pittsburgh is just that we had so many venues for a while that we actually had the opportunity for places to become like, oh, well, that's the punk rock place. That's the metal place. That's the hardcore place. And over time, it's like, that's all that ends up happening there versus like Uniontown, where it's like, we got one option. All right. So we kind of, whether we want to or not, everybody has to like come together. And I think if you zoom out and you start talking about like Lollapalooza and stuff like that, that was all like pre-internet, before like people were able to like dig themselves into these like holes of whatever very hyper specific niche that they want. Like when we're both kids of the 90s, so it wasn't abnormal to like just be like, yeah, I'm a fan of Nine Inch Nails and Rage Against the Machine and Smashing Pumpkins and Alice in Chains and whatever.
Smash Mouth.
Yeah, Smash Mouth, whatever, all the smashes, every smash you could think of, Smash Brothers, all the Hey, is there a bad media that exists that has the title Smash in it?
Nope. You are correct. I did not notice that till today.
I haven't either. I never really thought about it.
Ooh.
But, the one thing is just like you're able to like really hyper fixate on things. And I'm curious, like, I wonder how I would have turned out if I had like internet. I mean, we had internet when we were growing up, but it's not the way it is now. I'm curious, like, how if I would have gotten hyper fixated on something, or if I would have still managed to like take in so much different stuff as I did.
Yeah, we grew up in like an era where experimentation was sort of encouraged. So like especially during like the 90s, during like the funk metal explosion, where we got some of the best bands like Red Hot Chili Peppers and Faith No More and Mushroomhead and all that. So to me, like my favorite genres are genres that aren't specifically one thing, and they're encapsulated with a large amount of different sounding bands are still in one genre, like new metal, or yeah, that's about it. New metal and groove metal and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's funny because, on the topic of new metal, it's had like over the past like half a decade, it's had this like weird kind of resurgence.
It's an ultimate resurgence.
And like, but you still get people that are like, so like, what was new metal? And it's actually kind of hard to pinpoint because new metal was like so much more than just like Limp Bizkit or Korn.
Yeah,
I mean,
or the Spider-Man soundtrack.
Like, but there was a lot of really cool stuff, like you were saying, like a lot of bands that were like combining all of these different influences together. And it really was like a product of, I think, like people that grew up in that same time period that we did, that were just like, all this stuff was cool. It wasn't like you have to be one very specific thing, you know? And now, like, I have a really hard time. I don't know if it's me getting older or me just being tired, which could also be a byproduct of being old. But I do have like a hard time kind of like resonating with a lot of like younger bands, the stuff that these kids are listening to nowadays.
Oh, get off my lawn. What is this?
Yeah. Like, where are you at with like new bands? Do you keep up? Is there any new stuff that you like?
Yeah, I like all the new like shoegaze, goth, and deathcore stuff that's coming out nowadays. So anything that's like experimental, no matter what genre it is, I'm 1000% down with. Even if I don't like it, I'll still show up to a show and buy a shirt. Even if I don't like it, I'm like, hell yeah, you tried, buddy, you did it. So
sure. Do you think that like kind of comes from that like product of like being an artist, and like over time with me, I've like stopped caring so much about like what people are doing. It's more about like why they're doing it. And if I feel like somebody's like genuinely trying to do something cool and just being themselves, like even if I don't like understand the music, or if maybe I don't even like it, I'm just like, fuck it. Like, you're just being yourself. You're doing some weird shit. That's fucking cool. Rather than like
try hard, pretentious garbage.
Sure. Sure. And like also too, I mean, like sometimes like with like younger bands, you could see people like they're trying hard and they're like just kind of being copycats, but also like they're like 17. It's like, well, what the fuck do you want? Give them some time. I could tell that like,
yeah, you got to start.
There's something there, you know what I mean? And like, it's fun to like see some of those people grow, but there's like, people that are my age, that are still like, I don't know. I'm just like, man, this is like fucking fake and weird, but I don't know. Everybody engages with art in their own different ways, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, I just try to keep open-minded until it sucks. And then I'm like, nah, bro.
So what's the threshold for suck for you? What don't you like? Because you're a pretty open-minded person, and you're also a pretty positive person.
Mine is just whenever I feel like a artist is doing something out of like a copy and paste, the road to success kind of way. I sort of like it whenever an artist like deliberately tries to not be successful. That's why I really like black metal. like because like at that time in like the 80s and 90s, like death metal sort of got a little too commercial, but I'm totally cool.
Ace Ventura.
Yeah. Commercial death metal, or Airheads with the obituary stickers and stuff like that in the back. But as a counterculture to that, they were like, how about we record on a one track, and then our microphone is Teddy Ruxpin's face? And I was like, yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
This sounds like screaming in a tunnel for 2 hours. But I like noise anyway, so I can listen to anything from like Soylent Green to Merzbow to Blink-182 and be pretty happy. So it's really hard to make it to where I'm not having a good time musically, except for some reason I want to say Hootie and the Blowfish is my threshold. But
okay.
Yeah. I don't even know why. Like, I was like, what don't I like? And then Hootie's face and his choruses just popped into mind. I was like, Hootie, why? And then I was like, yep, that's probably my threshold.
That's like a really funny like byproduct of like being, I think, a child of the 90s. Because I also think that like, nowadays, I think it's so much easier to avoid mainstream music than it was when we were growing up. Like, nobody watches MTV anymore. MTV doesn't, I mean, it exists, but it doesn't exist. Like nobody's listening to the radio anymore. And if you are, maybe it's like Sirius or something, which is all hyper specific anyways. And it's like, there's so much like new modern pop music that like, I genuinely don't know what the fuck these people sound like. And that's not me trying to be cool. I just have no fucking idea what these people sound like. or what their songs are. And the only time I might hear them is like I'm in the mall or if I'm like out to eat somewhere. I'll be like, what the fuck is this? And I'll Shazam it and I'll be like, oh, so that's what this person sounds like. Interesting. Because I hear the names. I hear people talking about stuff. You see the shirts, I see things. I'm out there. I see all the bootleg Ice Spice shirts when I'm at the mall.
I'm still waiting to see like a Nickelback t-shirt out in the wild. Like, I know they have millions of fans, but who's wearing the merch? Nobody.
Well, I think the issue with any Nickelback merch is that it probably also looks like Nickelback merch probably looks like something you would just buy at like Ralph Lauren or Hollister or something. So like I'm sure you could just walk right past it and assume it was just like any normal t-shirt. I doubt it has much characteristic to it.
Yeah, it's probably just a flannel shirt.
Yeah, and it just says like Nickelback in like a really strong font,
with the copyright.
Oh yes,
Nickelback copyright 1995.
They seem like the type of band that still puts their website on their merch. You know what I mean? Like the www.nickelbackrocks.com. It'd be like on the shoulder too, like somewhere like really awful.
I wonder if they ever had a GeoCities.
Maybe.
Before there was MySpace, it was GeoCities.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they were what? Roadrunner, right? They're Roadrunner's fault.
Yep. Yeah, so, it was them versus Stone Sour. The feud.
Well, that was a feud.
Who got the hits?
I mean, I don't know. Who Nickelback may have won that one in the long run in terms of popular opinion. Yeah, I'm sure your opinion differs.
I have not. I've listened to like that Photograph song, and that's it.
What about How You Remind Me? That song smacks. Never made it as a wise man. Couldn't cut it as a poor man stealing.
I didn't even know that was it.
Who'd you think that was? Certainly wasn't Smash Mouth.
I was like, maybe it's the Solo Cup guy. If I know, I'm not buying it.
So outside of all of this, contributing to community and, having Go Gamer and all this stuff, you've had a music project for as long as I've known you that has had different forms and shapes and things like that over time. And we're friends online. I see the rumblings. You're talking about things happening with it. You feel like divulging any information about what's going on with Definitive Strike?
Yeah, currently we're writing a new album. Pretty soon, hopefully we'll be working with our keyboardist about being able to get our whole live set together. We've sort of had to wait a little bit because he just had a child. And then after that, his kid needed a heart transplant.
Wow.
And luckily it all worked out. So probably within 2 months, we'll be getting him on board, which is pretty fun. He's a pretty fun guy. I'm going to definitely have fun throwing him into the crowd and knocking over his keyboard.
Wow.
Yep.
The poor guy. He's got it. He's getting all better. And you're talking about throwing him out there to the wolves. Why don't you throw yourself out there?
I am in a category of unthrowable. I am more of a wall than a throwable person.
Fair.
It would be like a semi-truck just murdering people.
Fair enough. So, it's life happens as we get older. Things happen with people have kids, people and other band members and things like that. It's really hard to keep a band going as you get older. Even if you're younger, it's hard to fucking do that shit. It's also hard to like run a business, to be promoting shows and to be doing all this stuff. How does one find the time, Mario? What's your daily schedule like? How are you juggling all this stuff?
Just micromanaging. We usually have a set schedule with practice. Whenever, and I have insomnia helps a lot. So whenever I can't sleep, I just write music.
Yeah. I'm sitting here. What time is it? 7:23 p.m. drinking a nitro cold brew for no reason. I could easily just be drinking a water.
The best reason is no reason.
I'm gonna be asking myself at 3 a.m. why I'm on Depop looking at Walt Disney World t-shirts. But that's why.
It's because you have to.
Yes, exactly.
You have to be that guy.
Uh-huh. Are you using the restrooms? Okay, rock and roll. Not too sure where your friends are going, but there's a good chance they may not be able to get back in. So hopefully they can get a hold of you. You may want to keep your contact device readily available for such a situation.
Will do.
Yes. We were talking about micromanaging, scheduling, and staying up late. That's where we cut off.
Microbrews. Yep. And shopping at Disney.com.
Yeah, yes. Well, Depop. Do you fuck with Depop at all?
Mm-mm.
Do you know what it is?
Nope, not too much.
Okay, so it's like an eBay type platform, but people mostly sell like vintage clothes on there. And it's like a really cool resource for finding like old like band t-shirts, old theme park t-shirts and shit like that. Which I imagine is like somewhat an interest of yours to some degree. I found some really cool stuff on there, but it's like anything else when you're dealing with stuff online. You have people that think that they have the craziest thing in the world and want to sell it to you for $500. And then there's also people that have no idea what they have, and they're just selling cool shit for like $10. So,
the mixed bag.
I got my whole like list of saved searches, and I like to look at it every once in a while. Some cool stuff comes up. I have like a medley of things from like when I was in like middle school to high school, like old band shirts that like I don't know why, but like there was like a time when I was maybe like between 15 and like 18 where I like just got rid of so much stuff, like so much shit just changed in my life. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know the value in holding on to this particular thing. Like, I'm not gonna miss this Incubus t-shirt. And now I'm like, fuck, I really wish I still had that fucking Incubus shirt, like it's so weird. It's like, I'm like an adult now and I got to get a job. And like, I don't know, like my core never changed. But anyways, I'm still trying to find all these stupid t-shirts that I had when I was younger. Trying to find that shit again. Weird toys too.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah.
But mine is mostly with like posters and CDs. It's just like, where can I get the first Primer 55 album? And I'm like, yep, eBay at 2 a.m.
Yeah, I noticed when I was at Go Gamer, you have the store's decorated very well with a lot of very wild posters and like cardboard cutouts and things like that. So is that just like a product of just like okay, this is the question. Actually, I had this question.
Okay.
Whenever I was in the space, I just realized we haven't been on me in a while. It's just been on you. That's all. That's the Mario reaction cam. This is my question for you, actually. So when I was out there, I was very curious, like how much of the store is just like a good way for you to display your own personal shit. Like, what's the percentage there on that? It has to be like a healthy 30%, I'm guessing.
It's like 70%. I'm like, Elvira standing in the window. Me. Demonic Toys versus Dollman poster right in the front. That's me. What else?
I'm not.
My favorite poster that I have in my store is probably the Redneck Zombies poster that I have right behind me. That and probably the Ministry Static X and old school black and white Nine Inch Nail poster that's above my record area is 1000% me. And it's always cool when people are like, whoa, when did you get this Ministry poster? I'm like, I've had it my whole life.
Yeah.
I was born with this Ministry poster because Jesus built my hot rod.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Like there was like a lot of, again, like I said it before, just talking about like how cool it is to tell like how curated the space is and just like how unique to you it is, which is like really interesting to me because like, again, there's places like that, you come across them all the time. And so many of them just don't have any fucking character at all, And like, but I don't know. You did a good job on the place. And I noticed that you had a lot of cool posters. I'm not gonna lie to you. There was a moment in time in my head when as soon as I got there and I saw that Elvira cutout, I was like, how much money could I give him for that thing? But I was like, what the fuck am I going to do with it? It's in a much cooler position there than in my fucking house.
I don't know. Your kitchen, you could eat cereal with her.
I have one of the other like old school Elvira cutouts. I've never even seen that one that you have though. That one's crazy. That's like the Terror Vision one or whatever. Yeah.
The next standout that I'd need in my life is a Toxic Avenger standee. My life will be almost complete. Like, screw having kids and like getting like a mansion. Like, give me a Toxic Crusader standee, and I'm gonna be like, thank you. You can bury me now with the standee.
Absolutely.
Don't leave it. Put it in the casket with me.
Does it need to be like an OG or like? I mean, I'm sure like a reprint's probably easy to find, but that's not the same. Right?
Me, reprint's fine as long as it's not the new movie.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen the new movie, but
is it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's on streaming.
Okay.
But if it doesn't have like the original Melvin the Mop Boy, not for me.
That's the other weird thing. Like if we're talking about like modern media, right? Like music's one thing. I feel like obviously the way people discover music is a little bit different from how it was when we were kids, but still we were like using computers and things like that. So like it wasn't that weird, but like I feel like the way people digest new movies and the way movies are released is like so much different now. And I have like a really fucking hard time keeping up with any of it or even like understanding or knowing what's going on. Are you able to keep up with fucking cinema anymore?
Sorta. Having a store that sells movies definitely help, and having a Discord definitely helps because everyone's like, "Hey, are you going to get this new movie?" And I'm like, "I don't even know if it's going to be physical because they're trying to kill physical media." But old school stuff is still prevalent around, and there's always really cool new companies that are bringing old school movies back to life, like Arrow and Shout Factory and all those other ones. So it's
Vinegar Syndrome.
Oh yeah, that one's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's like there's just like a plethora. There's still like a pool of movies that exist that like I never even knew existed. Like over COVID, I saw Stay Tuned for the first time. Have you ever seen Stay Tuned? Do you know that movie?
No, I don't even think I've Stay Tuned. Oh yes, that's the one with what's his name? Ooh,
you see, I can't remember. It's like my brain is like
it's the game show and like it's in a different universe.
So like a game show is like a part of it, but it's like these it's like the devil like sells this guy a TV that like transports him into like this other world, and it's like it is like a game show where like they like the people in hell like bet on how long people can like survive the game shows, and there's like different channels and stuff. To be fair, I only watched it one time.
Yeah.
But I'm just bringing up a point where it's like, this is a really awesome movie from the 90s that I had never fucking heard of. And it was awesome. And I was like, this is one of the best movies I've seen in like a very, very long time. Granted, I don't fucking remember anything about it now, but also like, you know, it's just to say that it's like I don't even necessarily need like new media to discover new things.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at that time that movie came out, Bill and Ted 2 came out, and I was like,
yeah, they're very
the same.
Very much in the same universe.
Yeah, a weird and sort of, what is it? There's different layers to hell, and that my favorite part of Bill and Ted Go to Hell is the Easter Bunny. That was like my favorite thing. And I was just like, I think I was like 10, and I was like, hell yeah, that thing is creepy as hell. And the grandma, woo.
That movie's really fucking weird. The Station MFs, those guys.
Station.
Dude, that movie's so weird, but it's great. Before we started recording, like we were talking about the X-Files and shit, and just how it's like they really used to like put money into the weirdest shit. And like I'm sure that it's still happening somewhere, but like I don't know. Nobody's making weird shit on the budget that like a Bill and Ted 2 was made on.
Yeah, I think the closest thing that we have now, or within the last 10 years, was Manborg, if you've ever seen that.
Oh,
It is awesome. If you like that, if you'll probably like Psycho Gourmet.
I was gonna say Psycho Gourmet I have seen.
Yeah.
And that was even still like pretty fucking, you can tell that was done on a pretty low budget, but it was fun. I really like that. That was another like fun, like during the pandemic type thing. I think that came out in that time frame. I could be wrong about that. I don't really remember. Those 3 years were a bit of a blur, but that was like the last time in maybe like the past 10 years that I was even able to like have the time to like just like watch movies. I wasn't doing anything creative really. I wasn't playing shows. Got tired of work, like trying to like write songs. I was just like, vegging out again. And like, I don't know how the fuck I had time, but it's like a bullshit excuse because like when I was fucking like 17 and in school, 8 hours a day and working at fucking Taco Bell and doing all this shit, I still had time to like make beats and, watch a shit ton of fun. I don't know how I had more time to do things then than I do now, even though
you woke up earlier.
Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what the fuck it is, man.
Yeah, I had that same thought. I was like, how could I go to school and then like record music for 8 hours and have like a new album out every 3 months? How could I do that now? And now I'm like, yeah, I can schedule myself to where I'm off like half of the week. And I'm like, yeah, I remixed this like 3-second part of this song. And that's what I accomplished. I'm like, I used to get more done.
Yeah, it's like something that I think about it all the time. Just like, yeah, like I don't know. It's not that I'm not doing anything, but like I feel like I used to get so much fucking more stuff done. Maybe I think that like I wonder how much of it's like a quality control issue on my part. I think when I was younger, I wasn't thinking so much about like, oh, like maybe that part could be better. Maybe that could sound better. Maybe we should re-record it. I think when I was younger, I would just like do shit and I was too naive to even worry about like, oh, do these vocals sound good or whatever. I mean, half the shit I was doing was loud, messy crap anyways. So like who cares, And now I'm like over here like nitpicking the fine-tuned nuances of what a distorted guitar sounds like. It's not supposed to sound pretty. Why the fuck am I that worried about it? This is like going back to the black metal thing. Maybe I just need to start doing that.
Yeah, just get a 1-track or a 2-track recorder.
I got a Teddy Ruxpin right over there.
Wow.
So,
Yeah, see, that's all you need to start your
I don't need a computer. I got that. Let's go.
Yeah, that's all you need to start your new black metal career. That and some corpse paint.
Yeah. Well, I think the corpse paint thing, I don't know if I would want to contribute to that personally.
Yeah, be the black metal
it's just too
that's anti-corpse paint.
It's just too much work.
Oh, you could be the lazy one, the one that just sloppily puts it on your face.
Oh yeah.
To where it like just be like it matches the music. Like the corpse paint looks like Kaduki and the music also sounds that way.
Yeah.
So
did you have a corpse paint phase?
Nope, never. I was born with an anti-corpse paint phase.
Okay. Yeah.
This beautiful face does not work well with corpse paint.
So why? Just too much work? Too much work?
Yeah, I'm very lazy.
We also have facial hair.
We're too handsome. You gotta like just shave it all off and then look like a 40-year-old baby for the rest of your life. Oof. Then you could see like the amounts of chins that I have, and you'd be like, I don't like that handsome guy no more. He looks like a hot potato. That's what he does.
Yeah. With another thing, I guess, just kind of touching on all the facets of like the Go Gamer, music, movies, video games. Like one thing that I wasn't aware of, but not necessarily surprised to find out, is that like you have an interest in gaming. It's obviously a big part of being a 90s kid. Was that something that has always been a big part of your upbringing, or was that something that maybe you like found later on?
Yeah, it's been a part of me for probably since day one. I grew up like on a mountain where there was no kids. So it was either between hang out with my 80-year-old neighbor or it was play Streets of Rage, and I picked both. So one day I would dress up like a ninja and hang out with my neighbor Miss Gilbert, and then the rest of the time I'd be playing Streets of Rage 2. And yeah, it was a good time.
So like, like growing up in like more of a like not in like a city, right? Like something a little bit more
In the boons.
rural.
Yeah, in the boonies, dude.
How does one discover alternative subculture? How do you fall into this?
I was really into like magazines back in the day. Like Relapse had their own magazine and distro, which got me into a lot of new things. And Century Media had a really great magazine. That and Circus and all the metal ones. So back in the day, magazines were my go-to. That and music videos. Beavis and Butthead has definitely helped my take in music interest.
Yeah.
So, what got you into different music?
I mean, I think I had family, like my dad was like a big metal dude. So like, I mean, he had like Megadeth tapes, Cannibal Corpse tapes,
Oh, lucky.
Anthrax tapes, all that stuff, and like my mom was more into like, like the Poisons and Motley Crue and stuff like that. Like they were both like my mom was like 17, my dad was maybe 18 or 19, like when they had me. So like when I'm like 4 or 5, like rooting around in my dad's stuff, you know what I mean? He was only like 24, 25 maybe, you know what I mean? And he was in all that shit. And like it was cool because like when I was like old enough, like he started like taking me to concerts and stuff like that. So like I like pretty much got like a pretty cool crash course on music like from him. But I mean that and like also just being in the 90s, like it was like, in school, like I had friends that were into like, Smashing Pumpkins and Rage Against the Machine and all that stuff. Like at the time, I don't remember my dad really being into that stuff, but like as he's gotten older, like he's always like, yeah, I liked all that stuff. You know what I mean? He's just like a chill dude.
That would have been awesome. Way better than my experience. Yeah, my dad's like, yeah. My dad was really into Motown, and my mom gave me her record collection when I graduated. So it was like a lot of Nazareth and
Oh wow.
Black
Okay.
Sabbath. And I was surprised. I was like,
That's crazy. Yeah.
I had never like seen my mom listen to one cool song a day in my life. Like every time I'm in the car, it's like doo-wop music. It's like being in a 50s diner every time driving.
So what happened there?
I have no idea.
Never asked about it?
No, nope. I just took that record collection and ran. And I was like, oh, I guess this was before she met my dad and started listening to the worst music ever.
That's hysterical.
The worst time of my life was high school. I was listening to Radiohead OK Computer, and my mom busted in my room and she was like, is this Marilyn Manson? I was like, bro, this is the most not Marilyn Manson that I could be listening to. Like, the next step down is like DC Talk. If you would come in there and be like, is this Marilyn Manson? Like, bro, stop.
Yeah.
Stop trying to police the music. You don't know what it is.
Wow. Oh. That's really funny. So, like, then was there like an element of like resistance against you, like getting and discovering alternative subculture as like a kid from the family?
A little bit. I remember once my mom hid my 7-Year Bitch album. Like she was like, 7-Year Bitch. And she was like, what is this? And then she hid it from me. And I was like, what was it? It was just punk rock. So I don't know why. I think the reason it had bitch in it, she didn't like it.
Yeah.
Was there any albums that like your parents didn't like?
Well, so, my parents ended up splitting when I was in like 2nd grade. And my dad was always pretty chill about everything. And even though like my mom was into rock music, and I think she always was, I think she wanted to be like some sort of fake example of a good mom. Like, here's a good example. Like, I remember the day that Slave to the Grind Skid Row came out. I was at the mall with my mom, my mom's friend, and my mom's friend's kid. And I was really excited to get this fucking album because I liked Skid Row. And my mom was going to buy me the tape. But my mom's friend saw that there was like a parental advisory sticker on it. And my mom, she would have just bought me the fucking tape, but because the friend saw it, was like, "Oh, you sure you want to get that?" Like she didn't get it. Like she was like
Oh,
fake, like
fail.
like kind of like a fake sort of trying to police things. And then like like there was some times when like I would like maybe be listening to something like and maybe it had a swear word in it or something like that, and I would try to like turn it down, and sometimes she caught it and like she would like half care, but like half not care. Like I don't know. I don't think she cared that much. I think she was distracted and also young. I mean, God, but she would have been like what, 25 or 26
Yeah,
at
that's
that
pretty
point. You know
young.
what I mean? So it's like, it's like she's still like a mom, but also it's like think about like, when you were fucking 25, 26, and this shit never really like clicked to me until like around the time that I was when I like entered my like late 20s, like 30s, right? And I started to realize that it was like, oh, okay, at the age I am now, like my mom, it's like if I had a kid that was like, 16 or 17 years old being like a little shit, like I could have that now. It was like my mom's age. But like thinking about like where my life is and everything I've done, it like really put things into perspective in like a really fucking weird way. And like me and my mom, like I don't really fuck with my mom. Like we haven't talked in a very long time. For other reasons. Well, I'm gonna get into them. But but yeah, at that time it was always like fake trying to police stuff, but never like really all that serious. I know she had like taken stuff from me before in the past. I don't remember why. I remember one time, I think it was like, I think I got her to rent me a copy of Ninja Scroll when I was from Blockbuster Video.
Ooh.
And I was like, God, I was like maybe like 11 or 12, and I think she caught me seeing like a titty or something. And to be fair, ain't no 12-year-old need to be watching Ninja Scroll to be fucking completely fair.
Honest. Yeah.
To be completely honest, probably not. But yeah, there was that time frame where it was like anything that was on the Japanimation shelf and Blockbuster Video I was trying to rent, you know. Oh, it's so weird. I'd like to actually talk to you about this. Speaking of anime,
All right. I'm down.
isn't it kind of fucking wild how accessible anime is now?
Oh, yes. I'm like super thrilled about it. Way better than the times of going to like NRM. Was that right? NRM?
Yeah, National Record Mart.
Yeah. Going there and spending like $40 on 3 episodes of Dragon Ball Z. You remember them fun times?
Oh, totally.
Yeah. Hey, I worked for 2 weeks. I can buy one tape of 3 episodes.
Uh-huh.
I am an anime fan.
Yeah, I have I still have all my Dragon Ball Z tapes. I got Tenchi Muyo, fucking God, there's so much shit. I still have all that stuff.
Same.
Um,
Yu Yu Hakusho, X, Blood the Last Vampire, all that old school stuff. I'm 1000% down with. Even the new stuff. I love Attack on Titan and anything that like any of the kids that come to my store like, hey, check this out. I'm like, I don't know what a black butler is, but I want to check it out.
It's been a really, really long time since I've like even attempted to digest like a new anime series or anything like that. It's great that it's so accessible, but it also stresses me out. Like I remember like somebody told me about God, this is probably 10 years ago now at this point, but like somebody had told me about something and they're like, yeah, it's, on like Crunchyroll or whatever, and like I think I like had to pay for a subscription or whatever, and I got it. And then I like saw how many like episodes there were and I was like, I'm never going to fucking watch this.
And you're like, nah, fam. I would love to watch.
There's no
One
fucking
Piece.
way. How the fuck am I going to do this?
Which one is the one with like 130 episodes? One Piece or One Punch Man? I forget which one.
I feel like every anime has 500 episodes now,
except for the ones I like. It's like 3 seasons. That's it. In the middle of a cliffhanger, they're like, "We quit. That's enough. That's enough for you."
But it's so wild how like accessible it is now, and how it's like everywhere. Like I remember like, God, like I'd have to go to like, you can go to a place like National Record Mart or like Suncoast Video, and that was open in Monroeville Mall. I think there was one in Century 3 too. Or like you could go to Ides and get like the fucking bootleg anime VHS tapes that they had. I still have some of those.
Oh, you are so lucky. Dude. I would have killed someone like in front of their grandparents for that back in the day.
But like that was it, you know what I mean? And like that stuff was like, I mean, like I think that I kind of lucked out because like I knew about places like Ides because of like my dad and my uncle and stuff like that were into all that shit. So like I like would go like kind of get taken like record shopping with them when I was a kid. But it was still like when I was a teenager, it was like, you know, taking a bus or two public buses downtown. You know what I mean? I remember like me and Dylan, Control Alt Delete, like skipping school to go downtown to like, you know, go to Ides and like talk to Jim about like whatever new CDs came in, you know.
Those were
Shout outs to Jim. He's probably still at Ides. I haven't seen him in a while. I haven't been to Ides in a long time, but I'm sure. Yeah,
I was there 3 months and he was just there. I was like, whoa, I thought you would have retired, dude. But nope, he's still there.
Yeah.
Rocking strong.
That's somebody I need to fucking get on here. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I haven't talked to him much. But these kids have it lucky. I remember getting off the bus at school and running like full sprint uphill so I could watch Dragon Ball Z. That was like the funnest asthma-filled time you could possibly have. Like, just having an asthma attack and be like, oh my God, I'm in the middle of a fight. It's still good. They're still fighting.
Oh yeah, they don't stop.
Nah, bro. Nah. The next Dragon Ball Z, Krillin will talk to a lady for 3 seconds, and then Mr. Popo will wave at you. Yeah, that was like Toonami was the shit back in the day.
Oh yeah, I remember all that.
Is there anything like that now?
I don't think there has to be. Even if there was, it would. I mean, with just how again, just how accessible all that stuff is. On pretty much any streaming service now. I mean, there's all like the anime specific ones, but even if you go on to like, I mean, Disney Plus has all the Miyazaki stuff and probably anything that's like adjacent in that realm, right? And I'm sure there's countless things on Netflix or fucking Hulu or Amazon and things like that.
Oh yeah, we also lucked out. The best times ever with Aqua Teen Hunger Force. Yes.
Yeah, that Aqua Teen Hunger Force may have been one of the last television shows that like I remember like going to Walmart to buy the season, like when it came out on DVD, like being excited about it.
Have you watched any of the new stuff, new episodes or anything?
No. I'm sure it's still good.
The last movie that came out was pretty tight. I liked it a lot.
It's so funny. It's like I find myself like my interests really haven't changed or developed or anything since I feel like I was, you know, since we met.
Yeah.
And those interests were already pretty solidified even at that point.
Having a continuous personality that ranges through decades of time.
Yeah. But like, and it's like made it like the one thing that I've like found like unintentionally is like, I'm also not always like seeking out new things. You know, if something comes across my plate, like I'm like, oh, cool. But like, yeah, I just like, I haven't like seen very many new things. I don't even know like Aqua Teen. I didn't even know they were doing stuff.
Yeah. I will now update you with every cool update.
Feel free.
Your phone will be like, bang.
Yeah, I know.
Telling you about a new Aqua Teen movie.
Yeah, you're very good about telling people things online, which I respect the hustle.
Yes, sir. Especially shows. I will cover your entire wall with flyers. I don't care. As long as the end result is you like coming to a show and having fun, I will bother the living fuck out of someone.
But again, like, is that just like stuff that you're just like doing in passing?
Yeah, I'm at the DMV. I'm flyering stuff. I'm waiting for lunch. Just posting away. What else? I'm waiting for, I don't know, any amount of anything where I have to wait more than 3 minutes. I am on my phone bothering people, which is, I guess I could probably be like meditating, or enjoying the world, or I could be getting more angry at the world.
Oh no, I mean it's like helpful, and I think it's cool that like, I mean that you're doing a lot of stuff that I feel people like talk about doing, but they don't do it. And it seems like you're pretty chill about it.
Yeah.
Do you ever feel stressed?
I have high anxiety and PTSD all the time. So,
Okay.
but I think like posting and like just bothering people helps out a lot because who needs a fidget spinner whenever you can just post on someone's wall 300 times, like, come to this concert, you're going to have the time of your life. And then there's like, then they come and they're like, oh, hey, thanks for inviting me. Because like, I don't know about you, but I always get excited when I get invited to my friends' shows, like, or events. And I'm like, I remember being in high school and like, no one really invited me to anything until like I moved to Pittsburgh, and then every week someone was like, "Hey, I'm playing Colbogga. You want to come and watch me play at 5 p.m. before ceremony?" I'd be like, yeah, I don't have a life. I'll work. Hello, work. I'm not coming in. Why? My dog fell in its eat. Just hang up the phone and go. That's
Yeah.
what it was like back in the day. So yeah, that was the best part about like my early 20s was moving to Pittsburgh and having Club Laga and being able to see like so many shows every week.
Yeah. That's definitely one of those places that me and I think many people that are familiar with like Pittsburgh music in that time frame, everybody like misses that place and romanticizes that place. Like I've seen bands there that like, I saw Typo Negative there. I'm obviously never gonna fucking see them again.
Yeah.
I'm glad I fucking got to see them. Like there's so many cool shows I saw there. It's insane.
Everything from Typo to like Cradle Filth,
Yeah, that was the same
Pig
show.
Fate, yeah, Exhumed. I've seen there.
Uh-huh.
Cannibal Corpse, Hansel and Gretel, Raised in Black. All those. Did you ever go to any of the masquerades?
No, I didn't.
They were like the Halloween themed, sort of like festival, but like every year it was really dope. And I remember seeing Raised in Black, and the year before that, I remember Switchblade Symphony played, and I was like, oh, why was I still in high school like an idiot?
Yeah, it was cool, man. It was cool. And like it's interesting that like I don't know. It was like I think we made a joke about this when we were hanging out last week, where it was like we got into kind of like that whole like industrial realm of things at like probably the worst time.
Yeah, during the dip, during the goth and industrial, the dip. What was it? It's like Rex Arcana from FGFC 820 showed me like a chart to where the interest for goth and industrial died in like 2002 to like 2013, and now it's finally back in like a resurgence, which is pretty cool. And I'm like, yep, that was my whole career, and why it was so hard is because I started during the beginning of the dip.
Yeah, I remember like it was like there was like, I've like run into people. I mean, in the time, like I'd say maybe like in like 2006, 7, 8, maybe. Like that was by that time, me and Dylan, we were doing Control Delete. We also started doing that other project. And like, but we had stopped working together. And like I was just like, I want to do anything but this kind of music. And it wasn't because I didn't like the music. It was just like the shows were miserable. It was like the people that we were playing with didn't fucking care. The people that were coming out didn't care. Like it just sucked. It was like such a soul suck,
Yeah,
and
I
it was
feel
like,
that.
I just want to like, it's like, I love all different kinds of music. It's like, I just want to like contribute to something and be a part of a community that's like, people are actually like interested to be there,
Yeah.
and like, so I just found myself like being involved in like completely different things, but I feel like that dark electronic, whether you want to call it like industrial or EDM or IDM or noise, whatever, like there's always been elements of that in like pretty much most of my like solo and solo-esque music that I've done. It's still creeping in there. If with something like Grey Walker, it's not in there because I'm not really responsible for anything musically there. I'm just barking with my best friends pretty much at that point. But anything else I've done, like it's hiding in there for sure. I still have like all the same gear, and I still use a lot of it that me and Dylan were using when we did that shit fucking 20 years ago.
I still wish I had that demo. I had that demo for the longest time, and then I moved, and I lost like a big chunk of my CDs in a move. And I was like, but
I'll see what I can do about finding you a copy. I know that they're around.
And you said that there was like you could download it and stuff?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that I know I could definitely get you a digital copy, but I think there may be I think I may have some physical stuff laying around.
That is awesome.
If there was anybody on this fucking earth that deserved a physical copy of that, it's you.
Yeah, my favorite time of that was seeing you guys at the Eye. That was
our first fucking show.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was actually, so there's two things. So that was the first air quote real show that I ever played in any project ever.
For real?
Yeah.
Well, you did a fucking amazing job,
my dude. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, like, I had been in bands in high school and shit like that, and like there was like maybe like we had like, you know, like come over to the garage and play in front of friends, but that was like the first time, like, you know, it's an actual venue and there's strangers here.
Yeah.
You know, like so you were at the first show I ever played, and also you drove us to the first out of state show I ever played.
For real?
Yeah, when you drove us to fucking Morgantown. Remember you drove me and Dylan to Morgantown?
In my memory, no. But
yeah,
just say
because me and Dylan didn't have a car, and we got a show booked at 123 for Control Delete. This was like 2003.
Yeah,
and you fucking volunteered to drive us down there.
Oh,
so
shit.
You literally drove me to my first out of town show that I ever out of state. Or
okay.
out of yeah, out. I guess both really.
Yeah, I'm happy we shared that.
Yeah,
I wish I had more memories.
Well, I mean, you're somebody that has moved around quite a bit, and
Philly, and New Jersey, and Pittsburgh, West Virginia.
Yeah, and
different parts of New Jersey, which are its own state.
If you had to guess how many shows you've driven people to in your life, whether you know.
More than a year's worth of shows, I would say.
Yes. So I don't blame you for not remembering, but I'll never fucking forget that. That's just a fun fact.
Oh, that is dope.
Yeah. So there's a lot of like fun music history. Again, at the start of this episode, like I said, fucking I've known you literally, like quite literally my entire live music career. Like you were at the first live show I ever played.
And I remember meeting you and like Dylan at Ceremony. And especially like Dylan, because he's like very bombastic.
Oh yeah, he was the talkative one for sure.
And I was like, who's that guy in the background like Kevin Smith? I'm going to go bother him. I was like, hey dude, what do you feel about grindcore? And you were like, I love grindcore. And I was like, we're going to be friends forever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Totally. Fuck, man. But yeah, dude, it's been a wild ride. And like, again, neither of us really have changed all that much. I feel like I've grown in the ways that one needs to maintain being a productive member of society. You know, I'm here, I'm present. Things are happening.
Yeah.
But I'm awesome. still the same
I would say,
weirdo guy, I guess, you know.
I'd say the same about me, except for now I make music a little bit more professionally than I used to. But I feel like the way it was whenever I first started, it seemed more fun because I experimented a little bit more. Like, or at least like it was more chaotic, and chaos is pretty fun for some reason. I don't know why.
What do you think's different about it now? You mean like just from like in terms of like more of like a focus on what the music is going to be for the sake of like branding and visibility and
just the whole writing process?
Yeah, okay.
Because I think like whenever I started out, I had more, what is that thing? More optimism than I do now.
Sure.
Like you become older and you're hit with like the reality that like you'll play some shit. Like when you're young, you think you'll play some shows and you'll like network and like it'll be a little bit easier than it is in real life. Yeah, but networking doesn't work well when you're semi-antisocial and you're just like, I just want to be the guy that's like, you know, programming things. You know, luckily you found Dylan. Like I never found like a cool like social person to be like musically productive with. So like I've had to do my best, and it's worked out a little bit.
Yeah, it was so the story of Dylan is somebody else that like God, like me and that dude in so many ways couldn't be any fucking different from each other.
And it works, dude.
It's so funny because like I remember like I gotta get him. I gotta sit down and talk with him on here sometime too, because like, we've both fucking grown up and shit like that. But I feel like when we were like in high school and shit, like I feel like that dude did not fucking like me at all, And like I think it was just like one of those like, because like he was like one of those like low key freaks. Like he never like dressed super goth outside of wearing like a black t-shirt. But I was like the idiot with like red spiky hair and the fucking long sleeve Cradle of Filth shirt as like the clothes that like a proper human being would wear, right? And I guess like it was just so funny because like, for whatever reason, it felt like we were like total fucking opposites. But it did end up working really well from like a musical perspective. And whenever you get to meet like people and start talking to them, it's like, oh, like I feel like both of us learned a lot about music from each other in terms of like, like different styles and things like that, and understanding like, oh, it is all kind of coming from the same place, all this like this angsty, crazy stuff. Who cares if it's like a fucking guitar or a synthesizer or whatever, Like my exposure to industrial outside of like Fear Factory or anything like that was pretty fucking minimal at the time until like I met Dylan. He was the one that was very much like.
What did he mostly get you into at that time, if you remember?
I mean, the big one would be Skinny Puppy for sure. Like I had no fucking clue, like, I mean, like I had heard of it, but it was also like, I'm more like, I'm down that road of like, I think around that time was like, that was a lot of, I'd graduated from the what would we call it? Like the Slipknots and the Cannibal Corpses and things like that. And I was getting more into like Emperor and all that, like the weird black metal stuff and Cradle of Filth, which is like again incredibly surface level, but like all that sort of stuff. And like it was just like I wanted to hear like, I think I was like really big into like the symphonic stuff or like progressive stuff, because also around that time that wasn't too far off from like stuff like Between the Buried and Me starting to like come out with like some of their early demos. And like there was also that whole like metalcore movement too that was starting to happen that kind of had like my interest going for a second, because I was like, oh, this is cool.
At the time it was fun.
Yeah,
it was so fun.
Like so there was like a mix of things, but it was all like metal adjacent. God, remember Unearth? Man, that band fucking ruled.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not much. I haven't listened to much Unearth, but I remember they were really, I got into them and like Bleeding Through at like the same time.
Yeah, all that stuff. But then so it was just like my electronic music interest was like I didn't really know too much, like I think me and Dylan connected on stuff like Prodigy, Aphex Twin, Daft Punk, like that kind of stuff, like all the 90s shit that was pretty Portishead, all that like surface level stuff. I knew about all that shit, like Bjork, like we connected on all that.
We have to mention Sneaker Pimps.
Sure, there you go.
Easy mention.
Yeah. But then it was all like, that was a very long-winded answer to like, that was like where I got into all that stuff, which would have been like the Skinny Puppies, and then getting into the stuff like the like A-pop and Raised in Black, who you had mentioned before, and then like being into like Rammstein was another one that I already liked, but then like through getting into industrial, you start to find things like Leibach and shit like that, and it's like, oh, okay, like this is all the like Rammstein before Rammstein stuff, Yeah. Decrups and all that fucking fun stuff. So it's just like, but it's kind of like the interesting catalyst there was him exposing me to the Skinny Puppy stuff.
That and just going to like industrial clubs was hella fun.
Totally.
And then you're like, hey, what is this? And then you ask the DJ, and they're pretty cool, and they just give you their whole DJ list, so then you can go home and see what you personally like for yourself. Because I was usually late every time, so I'd miss like half a set. Like, sorry, I was at McDonald's for some reason trying to pet a cat that wouldn't let me pet him. He just kept running.
Yeah, I remember. I remember. I have very, very fond memories of Ceremony. Yeah, it was interesting. I remember that. I remember we got played at ceremony one time, and it was really cool.
Oh,
One of the DJs played. I forget who did it. Unfortunately, I don't know if Jim was maybe DJing, or if it was somebody else. That Dylan knew everybody in
I
that
would blame
fucking
him or Gothic Matt. That
Yeah.
sounds like either one of those two.
Yeah, but it was funny, and it was like, and then whenever I just completely removed myself from that whole world, for up until now, I'm still not a part of it, really. Like, no shade, like, I mean, fuck, last year I saw Skinny Puppy. I went and saw Ministry last year. Like, which, I mean, I don't know if I really saw Ministry. I saw a band on stage saying they were Ministry, but
I mean, if Uncle Al was there, it's Ministry.
yeah, to some degree, I guess
because
there.
it's like they started at what, like 82 with like Twitch. So by this time, if they get new members, it's like, yeah, it's going to happen.
Yeah, I don't care about the new members. It's more or less like the band. The music's kind of weird, but I guess what do you expect people to do at this point?
Yeah, I mean, how much consistency do you think you can get out of like an anarchist Cuban guy?
Fair enough.
Yeah, I'm like, people are like, he hates presidents. I'm like, is he supposed to like them? Like, I don't care, as long as he screams and has a good time. That's all that matters.
No, the show was fun.
You gonna go to like Gary Newman or anything?
I would love to see Gary Newman again, because when I saw Ministry this past year, it was Gary Newman, Frontline Assembly, Ministry. That was the lineup. It was fucking sick. And Gary Newman blew me away. Motherfucker stole the show.
Yeah, Gary is insane, dude.
And like, I was like, yeah, I would love to see him play like a headlining show. Definitely. Is he coming?
I think the closest show is Columbus. There's also a couple cool shows coming up. Combi Christ is going to be at Preserving Underground, and then the next night is V&V. And I didn't think V&V was ever going to play this area.
Yeah, I didn't hear about that. That's cool.
Yeah,
I heard about Combi Christ. They play pretty frequently though. They're road dogging it seems.
Yeah, I remember the one time I played with Combi Christ at Garfield Artworks on 4th of July during like a heat wave, and Andy almost died from heat exhaustion and a heat stroke. And then he vowed to like not play Pittsburgh ever again. And then like 5 years later, he finally got to play like Mr. Smalls, a properly air-conditioned venue.
Yeah.
Oof.
God, shout outs to Garfield Artworks. Shout outs to Manny Thiner. A long time friend of Start the Beat podcast. He's never been on the show, but he's a longtime friend.
That would be interesting.
Oh, I've tried. I've tried. I've asked him several times.
Maybe you have to be portable and just go to him.
No. The thing that he said the last time I asked him was that it's the most fucking Manny Thiner thing in the world. He was like, thank you for the invitation, but I prefer to remain enigmatic and I don't want to be seen. Oh. And I was like, dude, it could be audio only if that makes you comfortable. I think like Manny gets a bad rep from some people. I've always gotten along with him. I've never had any like negative interactions with him, but I've seen him have negative interactions with other people. I get it. He's not for everybody, but I never minded him all that much. He helped us out. I mean, I'm pretty sure he was the one that booked that show at the Eye. So he booked my first fucking show. Because I remember...
Maybe. Him or Jim?
It was one of them.
Was it a festival? Your first show?
I don't remember it. I don't think it was a festival. I guess it could have been Jim. Because Jim and Manny were the first two people that like... I remember going to Ides. I remember like taking the bus to Ides with Dylan to give Jim a burned CDR. And I also remember taking the bus to Garfield Artworks and sliding a CDR in the mail slot with our fucking phone number on it. Like that was how you booked fucking shows,
Yeah.
And like those were like the first two people that gave us breaks. So it is very possible that maybe Jim did book that show at the Eye. But anyways, I know that Manny definitely probably booked our second or our third show. Because I think we played shows for Manny at Garfield. And I think he may have booked us at the BBT when they were still doing like the drum and bass night on Wednesdays. I think we played one of those.
Oh,
that was like way back in the day though.
Yeah. I miss also Groove. If you ever went there,
I don't think I did.
Goth Night. Before there was Goth Night, there was like the techno, and like drum and bass night that was called Groove at Laga, and that was really fun.
Yeah, no, I never went to that. That's cool.
But back to Manny, I remember once seeing like a band almost murder him. And
Oh
it's just
yeah,
like,
everybody has stories like that. That's so funny.
like seeing a guy like pull a knife out on him, and you're like in the background, like, what? Can I just play? No. All right. Well, have a good night.
Yeah.
I was like, what did he do? But then you learn, like, yeah, he rubs people the wrong way, or people take him wrong.
Definitely. Well, you know, he's unapologetically himself.
Or polarizing.
He's definitely a polarizing person, and he's very much himself, and he's very he's certainly not a kiss ass, I can tell you that. You know, for better or worse, he may be one of the true last living people that actually live some sort of a punk rock lifestyle that exists. He's not a very by definition punk rock person, but
like when he was made, they were like, what do you want your personality to be like? And he was like, sandpaper.
You know, I mean, that dude does not give a fuck. I mean, but like, hey, you know, he's still at it. You know, he's still fucking booking shows. He's still doing the fucking flyering and doing the fucking same shit that he was doing. He's another person that hasn't fucking changed in the past fucking 20 years. And that's who he is.
Well, that's good.
It's kind of hard to hate it in my opinion. Like, I feel like it's hard to hate it. Like, if there's anybody, because like that's the thing too, is I know that like he's like created art in different forms throughout the years. But like being a promoter, as you know, most of the time it's a pretty fucking thankless job. Like nobody has to do that shit. And I'm sure that if there wasn't a part of him that didn't like genuinely love it, he would have easily found something else to fucking do. You know what I mean?
True.
He's a smart guy. I believe he's probably reasonably well educated. You know, show promoting is not something that he needs to do, but he must fucking love it.
You could probably just assume or guess that he likes art from having an art gallery. So
yeah,
which is pretty commendable.
Yeah, I think he means well. But anyways, enough of that. His episode, it's your episode. But we have been going for a good, nice, solid, almost hour and a half here.
Oh, seems like 15 minutes.
Yeah, I know. Time flies. So as the train rounds the station, we came around this mountain together here. You have shows going on pretty much weekly at this point?
Once a month.
Once a month. Oh, okay. I thought you were doing more than that.
Nope.
Okay. So you're just promoting shows like a little bit more in advance now then. Because I feel like I've seen flyers for shows that are like do you already have like the next 2 or 3 months announced?
We are booked till May.
Wow.
So next is Feast of the Fallen. That's February 25th. Then we have Lord Humongous, March 10th, which is members of the Renfields and the Jasons, which is a Mad Max themed black metal band, which is fucking sweet. Then after that, I wish I had a better memory. Then we also, in April, we have Wind Chimes. And then April 14th, we have Use Cost and Self God. We have the Manchovy and Paradigm. And I think that's it.
Very cool.
So, thank God my memory actually almost worked.
Yeah, I mean, I had a blast out there with Greywalker. If you're ever feeling frisky and want to book some Faith No More type sounding stuff, Normal Creatures would love to come out and play sometime.
Yeah.
If you ever have if you have like another weirdo band to pair us with, or you can pair us with whatever, I don't give a shit. I don't care. We'll play with anybody.
Oh.
Bring back mixed genres.
Yeah, I met your drummer for Normal Creatures 2 weeks ago with my drummer, and he is fucking awesome as hell, dude.
Yeah.
So congrats on that, on both of us having awesome drummers. So that was pretty dope.
Well, bad news. Matt has left the band.
What?
Yes, it was on good terms. He has a lot going on. He's a busy person, but
replacement is twice as cool.
We're still happening.
And his penile is 3 times longer.
Things are still rocking and rolling. No shade to Matt. Really good dude. He put in a lot of work with us, played some good shows, did some cool stuff, but people are adults.
Yeah,
life goes on, you know what I mean? So it's all good. But anyways, we'd love to play again out there sometime. We'd love to just come out again sometime too. I was talking to my girlfriend about the store, and she's into all the same shit that I'm into. So it was like, yeah, we got to just come out sometime and just like look around and shit, and, get some stuff.
Yeah, and if you play Magic or D&D or board games.
We didn't even fucking bring that up. That's right. That's a whole other component to the store.
Yes, sir. And there's a whole area where you could just play like Soul Calibur and Mortal Kombat and Smash Bros and stuff.
Yeah. Well, goddamn.
So if you're a nerd or a metalhead or just a weirdo in general, come out, have a good time.
Hell yeah. And Definitive Strike, definitively releasing some new material or playing some new shows sometime this year.
I hope so. My number one goal is to get back to touring, hopefully by the end of the year. So it's just my biggest weakness is probably like I get really distracted while trying to focus on writing lyrics. I can write music all day. Like you put me in front of like a keyboard and a laptop, and I can put out like 3 albums in like probably like 2 months. But write lyrics, I remember when I was young, I just had like a lyric book and I would just write music and it would be way easier. But like now I like to write music tailored, like the lyrics based off of the tone and feeling of the song. So it's become a little bit harder. So I wish it was easier, but it seems like it's more impactful this way.
Fair enough. Yeah. The process is, hey,
aggravating.
Your process is your process, and it'll take time. But I'm excited, for you to be out there moving and grooving, doing the thing again.
Yeah, and I think this time I'm gonna try to be a little bit more diverse in who I book with. So I think we're gonna try to play from anything from like deathcore shows to sort of like new metal and stuff like that in standard industrial concerts. So we can play anything from like Lorna Shore to like Suicide Commando, which is pretty fun. I sort of want to have like that sort of category, sort of like Godflesh, to where you could see Godflesh play with like Typo Negative, where you could see them back in the day play with Nail Bomb and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Took me like 3 seconds. My brain was like,
it's all good. There's a lot. There's a lot of fucking bands out there. How the fuck are we supposed to remember all this shit?
You have to be perfect.
Well, Mario, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and chatting. It's good to catch up with you. It was really cool, to get to play that show, to get to see everything you're doing out there. I'm excited to see you still out there moving and grooving and like giving back to the community and like, creating a cool thing. That's great.
And we would love to have you back because you were awesome, Brian.
Well, thank you so much. That was very kind. And I mean, you fucking heard it here, folks. If you haven't been out to Uniontown, if you ain't been out to Go Gamer, go check it out. Go check out a show. If you can't make it out there on a Sunday evening, then go out during the week if you're into, all the pop culture goodness.
Yeah, and you can play video games and play Magic and Pokemon and D&D Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Yes.
So if you're bored, come out on a weekend, spend the whole day.
Not just bringing the music community together, but other people as well, Get people out the house, get them to socialize a bit.
Yeah, meet some new people.
Yeah.
Pretty dope.
Hell yeah. Well, with all of that being said, that is all, folks. I'll be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes. How Start the Beat is the podcast. 2024 is the year. Take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. And peace out. Have a good day. See you out there in the wild. That was a podcast.
Oh.
Yes, we did it.
Yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Fuck yeah, man.
That was my first podcast I've ever done.
Oh, wow.